Hey e-commerce marketing podcast listener, I wanted to let you know that we have created 16 e-commerce marketing videos for you. You can download these free videos by visiting ecommercemarketingpodcast.com/videos or by texting the word videos to +1 480 418 1411. These step-by-step video marketing tutorials will teach you how to drive more traffic to your e-commerce website, how to get more backlinks to your e-commerce website, and how to optimize your website to get more paid customers. To get the videos right now by visiting ecommercemarketingpodcast.com/videos or by texting videos to +1 480 418 1411. Welcome to the e-commerce marketing podcast. Today's guest is Matt Bailey. Matt Bailey is a best-selling author. He is a marketing expert, he's a trainer, and he's also a speaker. Matt is a digital marketing instructor for the Direct Marketing Association in New York City. He's a member of the digital marketing faculty for Market Motive and an instructor for the online marketing certified professional program. Matt is the author of Internet Marketing, An Hour a Day, and Wired to be Wowed, which the book is coming out this year, or it's already out there. Welcome to the e-commerce marketing podcast, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Robert.
With the second book, Wired to be Wowed, that's already out right now.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, came out just about a month and a half ago.
Okay, so we'll first be talking about e-commerce analytics, and then later on we are going to touch and talk about the book, and you're going to give us a few background information about the book. We'll discuss that later, but just to get started, we're going to be talking about e-commerce analytics. And with a lot of the listeners are e-commerce businesses, and why should they be invested in e-commerce analytics, or should they be looking at their e-commerce analytics?
Well, that's like asking how important blood is. It is, to me, an essential part of running a business, especially if you are an e-commerce business. There are three things that you absolutely need to know when running an e-commerce business, and that is what works, why it works, and when it works. And you only get those things when you're looking at analytics. Every time that I have done a project with a client and we have done an audit of their analytics, an audit of their marketing, I am constantly seeing missed opportunities, money left on the table, they've missed trends. Even worse, they've miscalculated what's actually working. And so mostly, if you don't have analytics, you're going on a gut feeling. You're going on what you think might be happening, and that's always affected by what you read in the news or what you read in tech news, and it's not always true. And analytics is the most non-affected guide as to what's going on your website. Yeah, I'll give you one example. We had a client where we audited their site, and they pulled budget from one of their marketing areas and put it on another marketing area. And what we found is that where they pulled the budget from was their most profitable channel. It was averaging $14 of profit for every $1 spent. They moved that money into another channel that only made $3 in revenue per dollar spent. So they not only lost the money that they pulled from the budget, they lost the money off their profit margin as well. And so when you don't, so if you don't know what makes you money, why it makes you money, you'll pull budget money from anywhere and it could kill your business.
Yeah, and it looks like with that example you just provided, they not only lost money from their profit, but they actually ended up probably spending more to do the marketing because it went from $1 to $3.
Absolutely. It was a substantial drop, in results, but not only that, it killed them because they took money out of the channel that was producing 20 times more. The problem was they just didn't know it. And so when you don't know it, you make mistakes like that, and then you don't know what the mistake was because you're not measuring it.
And when we're talking about analytics, it really doesn't matter the size of the business. It can be small, it can be large, or should just businesses start investing in analytics as they start scaling and becoming bigger?
I think that's an important thing. What you said there is scaling up. So if you are a business owner and this is your business, your website, and you're wearing a lot of hats. Unfortunately, this isn't good news to a lot of people. You've got to wear the analytics hat. Yeah. Because that's how you know what works. And time again, when we have worked with businesses and taught them how to do analytics and what they get out of it, most of the time, they end up realizing where they can put money for greater revenue and greater profit, which enables them then that if they don't want to do the analytics, they can hire someone to do it. But the key is learning what's working, knowing what makes you more profitable, and once you learn that, then you can make those decisions. Okay. But you've got to know what you're doing with analytics. It is the lifeblood of your business.
Okay, so you say you have to know what's working, when it's working. So what type of metrics should an e-commerce business owner be looking at?
Well, if I'm digging into the web analytics of what's going on with their site, the number one thing I try to do is quantify a dollar-to-dollar ROI. So per channel. So, for example, traditionally I see anything that people are doing in search engine optimization, that's typically running about a 10 to 1. For every dollar they put into SEO, they're making about $10 in revenue. Email, I see that typically at around $14 to $20 per dollar. Mm-hmm. And so I try to figure out per channel, where are they running in terms of investment in that channel and return. That's the initial place that I like to start in order to see what's working, and then we dig in from there. Then we start looking at revenue per campaign within that channel and break it down to see what specifically is working. After that, we get into product groups. What are the most profitable product or product groups? Are we leveraging that accordingly? I've seen too many companies that, just because they have great rankings in a specific product group, they keep pushing it, but we find out that that's the smallest profit margin profit group. So why would you spend all your time optimizing and pushing a low margin product group when you could spend just as much time and triple your money with a high margin group? So just teaching people about, it's not about getting rankings just for everything. It's about getting rankings for the things that make you the most money first. So that's what we're looking at. Then we try to find anomalies. What's different? Why is it different? And usually we can find something that we can hinge a new campaign on a specific product or a specific area that we see that there's a real niche need for it.
Okay.
On the other side, and this is, I would put this more in the business analytics, is I want to look at how is a company leveraging their existing customer list and how are they leveraging that in their loyalty, advocacy. Traditionally, that's done through email marketing. The main reason is the Direct Marketing Association came out with a study last year that they said the average business is making $43 of revenue to every $1 spent on email.
Wow.
And that's just average. I've seen companies making 100 to 1. I've even seen some companies making, 1,000 to 1, simply because they are evaluating their customer list and they're looking at it to see, how do you move someone from a one-time customer to a multiple purchase customer? How do you move someone from a multiple purchase customer to an advocate or someone who will recommend to a friend and keep moving them? The first metric that I look for there is what's called RFS.
Yeah.
I'll look at my customer list and find out recency, frequency, and spend, and find out who my top 20% of customers are and what am I doing with them. How often do I contact them? What offers do I present to them? Do I reward them for being best customers? And how do I move them into being a source of referrals? Because then that's like finding a gold mine. When you get existing customers that refer new customers, that's the cheapest kind of marketing you can do. And usually top 20% customers, your top customers, they will refer people that will immediately become a top 20% customer.
And like, what type of return do you get once you find like perfect customers who are going to be referral marketing customers? How many customers do you think they bring in to the business? Do they have statistics on that?
I've not seen a lot published. However, I've seen more and more studies about referral marketing coming out. My own experience is that this is why I look for the top 20% of your customers in recency, frequency, spend. And typically what I will find, it's then you go the top 20% of your 20, and those are the ones that are recommending, that are posting on social media. They're the ones that are talking about you. And so you should have some program in place to enable them to communicate that message, to reward them for referring new customers.
And how can you tell your 20% or your top 20% from your list and from your database? How do you find that out?
That's really, like I said, I'll look at the list based on recency, frequency, and spend. Depending upon the type of business, it may be a little different. So for someone who might be doing software as a service, looking at your top 20% of users in terms of usage time.
Okay.
And then I would go out and even look at, well, who are they? Are they customers are they publicly visible? Do they have a known brand name? And if so, maybe if I, offer to, I'll give you this for free, and maybe we develop a sponsor relationship, and you tell people that you're getting this software from us. So it just depends on what kind of business you are and how you can adjust that to really reward your top 20%. Okay.
And to keep track of all of this, it sounds like you need to be using some powerful analytics tools. So what are some tools that businesses need to invest in to look at all of this?
The easy answer to that is anything that gives you insight.
Okay.
So, you can start small as long as it gives you good information to grow. You don't always have to jump into the most expensive, the most robust if you're not going to use it. Many times, like people have asked me about MailChimp, and, it's an email program that has some CMS elements where I can manage and see who's opening, who's spending, and doing things like that. But is it worth it to jump all the way up to an Infusionsoft product? It depends. Do you have the throughput to justify it? Or are you getting what you need? So be willing to start small and master a certain level of marketing and analytics. Once you've mastered it, then to grow into another system won't take much at all, because you've understood the fundamentals of what it takes to work.
Yeah, and I think that's key, what you've mentioned about mastering something, because a lot of times people get distracted with upcoming trends and maybe you need to be using this, maybe you need to be using this, and then they forget to master whatever tool they're working on or whatever strategy they're working on, and then they jump onto the next. And usually when you do that, you really can't get the results of not only that strategy but just all of them, since you didn't invest time doing them.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many times I've heard business owners say, I have Google Analytics, but I really don't know what to do with it. And they all say, I should be spending more time, but they don't. And so I can't recommend that you buy the next level of analytics that's going to give you more business insight if you don't know how to get basic business insight out of a very simple program like Google Analytics. So you've got to start, learn how it can affect your business. Then you can make a better decision as to, well, do I need to grow? And by knowing how it works, you'll then be able to ask good questions to help you decide what would be a good answer. Yeah. But, just because it's more robust and it costs money and it's bigger doesn't mean you're immediately going to turn it on and know how it works.
But a lot of that also comes with the fact, like you had mentioned earlier, business owners have to wear a lot of hats. So I guess that comes with their priorities or time. And how much time do you think business owner needs to be investing in when they're looking at the analytics? Is this a day-to-day thing? Do they need to be doing it for an hour? How much time do they need to invest?
Well, that is a great question. Here's the thing. I think the reason why people don't want to invest in analytics is because they look at analytics as reporting. It's going to tell me what I did. What I have found is if you look at analytics as marketing, because when you are measuring your marketing, your analytics gives you feedback, like I said, as to what's working, why it's working, and how you can maximize your return. In that case, you're using analytics as a marketing tool, not as a reporting tool. And so if you look at analytics as marketing, all of a sudden now it makes it a little easier to spend an hour a day, maybe a couple hours a week, taking a class and understanding how Google Analytics works, maybe paying someone to help you set it up and customize it specifically to your business, and just learning maybe 4 or 5 basic reports that will help you know what's going on. So in that case, if you look at it as a marketing spend or marketing investment, that might make it a little easier rather than just looking at it as something to feel guilty about not doing.
Yeah, I think I actually fall in that group of people who always looks at analytics like, oh, yeah, it's a reporting thing. You have to invest time. You're feeling guilty about it. So I like what you've done there with, switching and looking at it at a different way, because I've never thought of that. I've never looked at analytics as just marketing. I know you have to look at it for your marketing, but I've just never seen it that way.
It's because when you're getting into analytics and when you're looking at the data, I mean, I could run through countless examples and client studies where we have found opportunities that resulted in immediate new cash flow. We have found other places where money was being wasted and there was no return. And so immediately we were able to take that money and put it into a profitable spend. Other areas where we found that this page was turning people away, where this page had a 20% conversion rate. And so because we're looking at it as a marketing aspect, we're learning what's working, what's not, and we can make immediate changes which immediately affect the bottom line revenue of the business. And that's why I think it's just so exciting as a marketing tool, because it's immediate feedback. And I tell people, you can find gold in your analytics. You just got to dig for it.
Okay, the other thing you found from all your experience in online marketing, you have experience for like 20 years.
Yeah.
But one of the things you saw when you're dealing with different businesses and different clients was, okay, some businesses do better than others, and that's what prompted you to write your new book.
Yes.
Wired to be Wowed. So just tell us, give us some background information about the book and what people can learn from that book.
Like you said, after 16 of those years were spent on the agency side, working with clients, helping people develop new websites and working on the marketing side. Some people, they came to the agency, they got some help, they got what they needed, and they took off. Other people, they would come and this was probably their 6th agency in 6 years. It never really benefited them, and there was some success, but never long-term success. And so it really was just a matter of sitting back and looking at why did it work for some people and not others? And the answer, that's wired to be wowed. It's that great marketing isn't an accident. Audiences love to be wowed. Your customers, they long to be wowed. They want to get those emails that when they get them, they say, oh, wow, this company knows me. Mm-hmm. They know who I am. They know my preferences. They're not trying to sell me things I don't want. And that is being wowed. Problem is that I think a lot of times businesses get wowed by the wrong things. And I call that shiny object syndrome. That, the newest technology or a new trend, and they see it, they hear it, and they say, you know what? If we do this, we'll make money. And to rephrase it, they're saying, okay, here's our business plan. Number 1, we're going to use Facebook. And number 3, we're going to make money. But they forget what's step 2? How are you going to use Facebook to make money? And because they don't answer that question, or they don't formulate a strategy, they're not going to wow anybody. You are just going to be posting into the black hole because no one's going to respond to it. So wired to be wowed is the step 2. What's your plan? How do you define your message, define who your audience is and how you're going to interact with them, and how you're going to turn that into revenue?
So it really goes back to mastering that channel,
Exactly. Well, mastering your message, mastering your audience, and mastering how you talk to that audience.
Okay. And how can people get the book?
They can get the book. It's on Amazon, but if you want to go to wiredtobewowed.com, that'll take you right to the page there, or just search on Amazon for Matt Bailey or Wired to Be Wowed. Wiredtobewowed.com is probably the most direct way to get there.
Also, how can people reach you?
They can reach me through my website at SiteLogic, SiteLogic, SiteLogic.com, or just go to Google and search for Matt Bailey, and I usually come up pretty high.
Do you have any final thoughts as far as analytics and e-commerce marketing?
It's essential. It's absolutely essential. And the time you put in to learning analytics will be greatly rewarded. Don't look at it as something you have to do, or as something that is going to drag on your time. The investment you make in time and in knowledge and analytics will pay off huge dividends with understanding what works, why it works, and knowing what to do with that information.
And one final question. What is one thing an e-commerce business can do right now at this moment to help grow their business and help take their business to the next level, to the right direction?
The one thing they can do is make sure that in their analytics they are tracking goals, they're growing their email list, and that they know the value of a visitor.
Okay.
Knowing the value of a visitor, and then that just branches into so many other areas, knowing where that visitor came from, the value of a Google visitor as opposed to a Bing visitor. That helps you make much better decisions.
Okay, Matt, I really appreciate you coming to the show, sharing all the information you've shared. And thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Robert. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the e-commerce marketing podcast. Join the e-commerce marketing podcast Facebook group to learn, connect, collaborate, and grow with other e-commerce marketers at ecommercemarketingpodcast.com/FB. ecommercemarketingpodcast.com/FB. Subscribe to us on iTunes by searching for e-commerce marketing podcast, and please leave a rating and a review. Thank you for listening. See you next time.